which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will do a roll call and declaration of conflicts of interest.
Councilmember Abram?
Hearing none.
Councilmember Bixel?
Hearing none.
Vice Mayor Franco?
Hearing none.
Councilmember Moniz?
Hearing none.
Mayor Bublak?
Hearing none. All right, approval of agenda as posted or amended.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes 5-0. And now we have some special recognitions of outgoing treasurer Diana Lewis, was here for 76 years. No, I'm just kidding. 24 years. She's been here so long, and we're lucky. And as well, Vice Mayor Pam Franco. And so I believe the city manager will be doing some recognitions.
Is this working? It is. Okay. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. It's a pleasure to be in front of you tonight to recognize a couple of people who've contributed a significant part of their lives to the citizens of Turlock and the Turlock City. First, I'm going to start with Diana Lewis. Now, I've actually known Diana, come on up here, since grammar school.
Uh-oh.
Which dates me, not her. She was in kindergarten, I was in high school.
So you're the city manager and I was the treasurer. Your math's not real good.
Diana has served 24 years for the city of Turlock as our treasurer. She has vast experience and knowledge of the California state investment policies. She has seen the city of Turlock through various tough economic times as well as some good times. The city's financial security has always been her number one priority, which is important when you got a treasurer. The investment portfolio under her has increased from $24 million when she started in 1999 to more than $281 million today. Huge responsibility. She also created diversity within our portfolio by introducing new investment tools such as money market accounts, corporate notes, and agency notes. She has always had the best interest of the city's financial position, making sure there was cash to pay the bills, which was important, resources to meet unexpected needs, and new priorities adopted by the City Council. We wish her the very best in her retirement, and she will always have a home at the City of Turlock. Diana, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Speech.
Okay, thank you. Wow, thank you. I have been very composed until this moment.
Do you need the grandson over there? He'll help you.
No, you want to help me?
Yeah, you're on your own.
It's like, no. Okay. I wanted to thank you all so much for your support and your faith over the last 24 years. A total year service that I've given to this community has been over 40. It's been a pleasure every day. I've tried to do the best of the investments that legally is possible, stretching that sometimes to the right to the max and hoping that the return is good. And it's helped us in my over my investment time. I have brought in over $18 million to the city of Turlock in interest investment. So if you look at that over 24 years, that's over $750,000 a year, the income. So that's a pretty good return on our money for the treasurer that we use, and that's thanks to the council and to all the department heads too. It's been a pleasure to be here. I now want to spend more time with my family. And, excuse me, and my friends. I'm enjoying traveling a whole bunch. When you get to retire, it's great. You get to do those things. As I said, it's been a pleasure. I have many, many friends here, many that I call family. And I want to thank you all. Thanks, Sarah.
this? You gonna make a scene? Hey, lady.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
And remember, she does sell that toffee downtown, so her retirement plan, we gotta help her out. Move it along.
She's got me well-trained.
I know, right?
Pam Franco, our vice mayor, and has been for several years. She's been on the council 4 years, and in those 4 years, significant accomplishments were made in this city council. Just to add a couple, public safety is now financed almost fully and completely, and the chief has almost all his officers and employees that he needs. The fire department's doing well. They got 2 new fire engines last year. Not they're not gonna arrive right away, but we got them at least. She's seen new city management come in. She's seen new directors come in. She's been a part of that process of vetting them and deciding who needs to be our leadership. The roads program, huge advocate, along with the mayor and the other council members. So we have an active roads program that was talked about for years and is now in reality and happening every day if you drive around this town. Thank you, Pam. She's always had a grasp and understanding of the potential of our financial position. More than any other council member, she understands the numbers of this city. Not just the details of the whole city budget, but the details of every project that came before the city council. So that kept us on our toes. She understands constituent issues really thoroughly. And she's a strong advocate of her constituents and their needs and their requirements and their issues with the city of Turlock. She's always there first to say, you need to take care of this. And she takes care of it, and then she gets back to her constituents to let them know what's going on. She's always had the interests of the city at heart. She's also had the city employees at heart. She's respected us, and we appreciate that respect. Pam has been a great political leader in this community, and she'll be a council member that is sorely missed. Thank you, Pam.
Wow, living up to that one, huh? Well, 4 years ago, the city was not in great financial shape. I've been proud to be a part of the new councils that last 2 years ago, and this particular council. Public safety is now stable. Our reserves are now stable. We went from being at $6 million to being over $20 million in 4 years. So that was a great accomplishment for all of us. People of Turlock made the choice to give us Measure A, which made it a lot easier to govern. But what we did with Measure A money is we set it aside 50% for roads. Roads are finally getting done after 30 years. It'll be up to the new council to continue on that wonderful program. I think there's an agenda item on tonight's agenda for that. We now have over 22.5% in our reserves. So we are a healthy city. Our finances are stabilized. We have a finance director, something that we got called on audit after audit after audit. We have a finance director, and he has made a big difference making sure that our finances are stable here in Turlock. Police department, now fully funded, almost fully staffed. I guess we have one more. Someone retired. We have FUSIS. We have the drone program. We have license plate readers. We have body cams. And we have our wonderful new chief. Fire department, fully funded, getting fully staffed. We sent the management of that to Modesto, and that helps stabilize the fire department. We have better coverage now than we've ever had. We work together with all the other Modesto, Turlock, Stanislaus consolidated fire stations, so the coverage it just flows. And we ordered 4 new fire engine truck, squad. I'm not a firefighter, so I'm not sure what the names are. They were over $1 million a piece, and we are funding them with cash. So kudos to the council, this council and last council, for putting that money aside and actually doing what we said we were going to do. Roads program. It was almost 30 years that nothing was getting done on the roads. We are now getting roads done. We've got over 27 miles of roads taken care of since the 3 of us have been on the council. That's a big chunk, and engineering's done for a lot more. We've got all of the roads surveyed, so we know exactly what needs to be done. Engineering and our road doctor are working on that. And Stanislaus Regional Water Authority, SRWA. When I first came on, it was just being voted on that we would actually do the treatment plant. Just last week on my last meeting there, we actually did the notice of completion. So it is now finished, and we only were not even 1% over budget. So that's unheard of in a over $200 million project. So we really kept it tight on the reins of the finances, and everyone's benefiting from better drinking water. There's always stuff that we leave unfinished in any kind of position that we have, and it's now my time to leave it to their hands and trust that they're going to do the job that we did before. Turlock's in good hands with this group. So thank you. Give me just a second here, because I do want to thank the citizens of District 4 for electing me. It's been my privilege to serve you. Thank you to the staff, those that are here, those that are not here. It's also been a privilege and a pleasure to serve with you. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn my back to you guys a little bit. To George, Sarah, Regan. Julie's not with us any longer. Nicole's here. Donna, and special thanks to Gary Hampton. You guys have made my 4 years a lot easier. And finally, to the council, Kevin and Cassie, it's been a pleasure working with you. I've enjoyed it. And Amy and Rebecca, can't say enough about the friendship and how much I've enjoyed working with you. It's been my pleasure and my honor. So with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and good luck to all of the new council.
While they're getting ready, we'll say something. While they're going to get the picture. Just chime in.
So I just have a comment about the vice mayor, aside from the fact that it's been a privilege and an honor to serve on this council with her. She just mentioned that Turlock is sitting at 22% reserves. And I can tell you all that she's the one that put her foot down and stood up and said, no, 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 we're going to do this. And when it came on the agenda, we took a lot of criticism on that vote to vote in a reserve percentage that strong. But as we sit here today in December of 2024, I'm looking around at other cities around Turlock, and everybody's got money problems. But I can tell you, Turlock is not one of those cities. We are sitting very pretty and very stable, and that is thanks to you. It has really been an honor. I have never seen somebody work as hard as you for a thankless job that we don't get paid for. And we all know, every elected up here knows that when you make somebody happy, that's great, but hold on, because there's another side, and you just made that other person mad. And we call her the budget queen, because she put countless hours into the numbers and finding the money and finding the waste. And thank you. Turlock owes you a debt. Thank you.
I agree. You have babysitted me for 4 years. Every time I just go like, okay, Pam, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? She was my vice mayor. She was my go-to person. I don't look at budgets like she does. So I was like, okay, you look at this, I'll look from this way, and then we'll blend it and see what happens. And it was just an amazing relationship, great friendship. And I know I'm still going to call you and ask you to look at the agenda. But thank you for that. All right, I guess election results, Madam Clerk?
All right. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. It is my honor to bring this item before you tonight, which is the matter of reciting the facts of the general municipal election held in said city of Turlock on November 5th, 2024, declaring the results thereof and such other matters as provided by law. I, Nicole Fees, City Clerk of the City of Turlock, State of California, do hereby certify that I did cause a public canvass of the returns of votes cast in the general municipal election held on November 5th, 2024, within the interior boundaries of the City of Turlock, and do hereby declare the results thereof as follows. City Treasurer, 1 to be elected, Michael Abram, 13,800 votes. Pam Franco, 10,159 votes. Michael Abram was elected City Treasurer of said city for a full term of 4 years. Member City Council District 2, 1 to be elected, Rebecca Moniz, 2,045 votes. Milt Truweiler, 1,970 votes. Rebecca Moniz was re-elected Member City Council District 2 of said city for a full 4-year term. Member City Council District 4, 1 to be elected, Erica Phillips, 4,059 votes. Kamlesh Kaur, 2,254 votes. Erica Phillips was elected Member City Council District 4 of said city for a full 4-year term. Measure voted upon during this election. Measure C, the City of Turlock Transient Occupancy Tax Measure. No votes, 2,150 votes. Yes, 988. Measure C, City of Turlock Transient Occupancy Tax Measure was not approved by the majority of eligible voters for the City of Turlock. Voting statistics and the number of votes given at each precinct to each person and measure is set forth in the attachment of the resolution included in the agenda packet. The information is now entered into the record this 10th day of December 2024. Mayor and Council, this concludes my declaration of the results.
Thank you. Are you prepared?
Ready, you want to do a vote?
Let's do it.
Oh, all right. Let's do it. Councilmember Abram.
I'm sorry, we should need to get a motion
Oh,
first.
yes, you should. I'm so sorry.
Apologize.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you.
Motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco.
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz.
Yes.
Mayor LeBlanc.
Yes, and it passes 5-0. Thank you for that. I think at this time you're going to do the oath of office. Goodbye, Diana Lewis.
I'll just call Michael Abram. Rebecca Moniz.
I'm like, I already did that.
Oh, boy.
I'll just have you raise your right hand and then repeat after me. Yes, I'll repeat the same time. I state your name.
I, Rebecca Moniz,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith and allegiance
that I bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter
upon which I am about to enter
as,
as
state your position,
council member,
District.
District 2.
Seamless.
Did anybody besides me notice that she had every bit of that memorized?
Well, I noticed, because I give that oath all the time, and I've never done it without a card in front of me, so I did notice
The
that. That's pretty
Miranda
impressive.
card, I read it, yes.
You have to.
All right, now we have the Honorable Carrie Stevens, who will be conducting the special ethics oath for the three of you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you agree, as an elected official, that your fundamental duty is to serve Turlock and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice? If so, say I do.
I do.
Will you keep your private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of scorn or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed in both your personal and official life, If so, say I will. Will you be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of the city? Whatever you see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to you in your capacity will be kept ever confidential unless revelation is necessary pursuant to the laws of the state of California. If so, say I will. Will you agree that you will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence your decisions? If so, say I will. Do you recognize the election results as a symbol of public faith? And do you accept it as a public trust to be held so long as you serve the citizens of Turlock? Will you constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals? If so, say I do. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. Really quickly, I just have this last little thing here I want to take care of. Not little, really. Chief Hedden, will you come up here, sir? You can't say no. So, we just got this in, and it's kind of a big deal. The Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, the executive certificate is a big deal, and you were awarded it on November 5th. So we have it here for you, sir, and we're very, very proud of you. Don't go anywhere else. Congratulations. All right, we're going to have an intermission real quick so we can do a little play music. Somebody else is going to get a chair, and then we'll start the meeting again. Right, totally. You sure?
Good. All right, you guys.
Just want to say hello.
It irks me not to take a photo of myself and put it as her background.
You should. You should. Probably.
We won't. We'll all be disappointed and sad.
Thank you, Judge.
I've been evicted. Oh, okay.
There's no 30-day notice.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't-
Who's there?
That's Kevin.
And Cassie. Oh, her. Okay. Right on.
She didn't bring a pen. Wow. Thank you. I know, right?
Good job.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, just sit? Yeah, that'll look good. If it looks terrible, you let me know. I'll run it and because I want to stand up.
Ahem.
You're up here. Hey, no spectator.
You don't get to spectate no more, Chica. Necesito trabajar.
She's got comfortable. We didn't get a spot for Mike. All right, it's you.
Welcome aboard.
Wow. All right, intermission. The chief had to have known, right? I mean, all those people are here. Kind of a dead.
Yep. You're,
Come on. Come on. Everybody situated? Yeah, thank you. Let's move it. All right, we're going to start this meeting up again. The next are appointments for the CDBG Grant Selection Committee, which is listed on the item on the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes 5-0. Appointment to the Planning Commission, also listed.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, 5-0. Thank you for that. And the next is the Mayor, let me see, what is it? Measure A. Yeah, let's do that one. Measure A.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, welcome back, Pam Franco. It's 5-0. And Parks, Arts, and Recreation Commission.
So
Mayor
moved.
Ford. Oh, boy, we got a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, 5-0. Thank you all for applying and getting involved. All right, the next thing we have is public participation. This time is set aside for members of the public to directly address the city council on any item of interest to the public that is within our subject matter jurisdiction. And you will be given 3 minutes, and there are 2 areas of notation that the clock is going. I have 3 cards. Thomas Hall. Come on up. Welcome. We pass this down. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Thomas Hall. I'm the Director of Emergency Shelter and Outreach at the Turlock Gospel Mission. I just want to start off by saying good evening to you all, and then congratulations to Erica Phillips on her election, Michael Abrams as well, and Rebecca Moniz on your re-election. Thank you. I just want to real quick just share about some of the work we've been doing this holiday season. I want to start off with one of our success stories recently. We had a gentleman who was struggling with homelessness for close to 2 decades here in the Turlock area. And 2 years ago, around Thanksgiving, he came to Turlock Gospel Mission, and he decided to clean himself up, get his life together. And I'm happy to share that since then he's been able to reconnect with his family, gain employment, gain permanent housing. He's now a core staff member at a nonprofit organization in Modesto. And he's even given the opportunity to chair recovery meetings. So he's been a great success story, and this Thanksgiving marks 2 years for him as clean and sober. And he's just one of many stories of those that come to the Turlock Gospel Mission. This holiday season is a great time for all of us, a lot of us, but for some it's not so great. And we've seen a huge increase in homeless families that are struggling. And so we continue to work with them with the help of our community, our volunteers, our council, to help them by partnering with the schools to get them resources and things like that. We will continue to help those who need storage. We're offering storage for those in the area that are struggling with homelessness. And I just want to say that without the help of the council, our community members, and our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do this work. And Turlock Gospel Mission looks forward to working with each and every one of you in the future. And I just want to say thank you for your work, especially those who got recognition today. Special thanks to them. And I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Manuel Drummond. Santa.
Been a while.
Yes, it has.
Good evening, council. Welcome and congratulations on the election. I forgot this is the night, and then I just
happened to walk into it, but congratulations. I'm glad to see a couple of familiar faces. Eddie, nice to see you. I'm here before you tonight, just a couple of complaints, maybe not complaints, but concerns or whatnot. I'm glad that the streets are being worked on. I have a house or two on one of some of the old streets, and my God, they needed it. And thank God for that, thank you. But my biggest complaint is where I live on West Linwood. I've been there 37 years. That was a great little street. Before the shopping center came in, or where CVS is at right now, you know, we could drive that street. It was beautiful. Try driving it now. Since the city annexed the West Side industrial area, I welcome you. I invite you to go to Walnut and Linwood and drive west, and turn around at Tegner or continue to Washington and come back again. If that's in the works, thank you. If it's not, please look at it. It's a main thoroughfare into town for the west side, south people living in the Turlock area. So I'm very concerned. I come down that street. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. I know the patch truck is out there every day. It's sad. The other concern I have in the area I live in, which I believe is Mrs. Councilwoman Monez's, Tegner and West Main. That, I don't know if there's a stoplight in the works for that in the near future. That is a very dangerous intersection. I bring that into town every day. It's an accident looking to happen. I've been told there's potential of widening West Main out to that area, but that should be on the radar to be looked at. There should be a stoplight there. There should be some turn lanes there. It's a very, very busy street, as you well know West Main is, so please consider that. I want to thank you for the time. Mrs. Monez, if you have a chance, give me a call. My phone number is there. I've had some questions. Apparently, I've never been able to get through to you with
I was just going to ask
technology
you
and stuff.
to give our phone number to the clerk so I can update you on what's going on with Linwood
Very good.
and
I
Tegner.
appreciate that.
You bet.
Because I'm very concerned. I mean, I love Turlock. I've been working here since 1971. A lot of you probably weren't born yet. And you know, and I'm very involved in Turlock. As you well know, we're still working right now on Turlock Together. That's coming up. We appreciate the donations in the city does, and the citizens. It's still a great program. We're going to serve about 1,200 families this year. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Madison?
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Madison Beretta. I'm a student at Stanislaus State University. I've only been in Turlock for a few years, but I just wanted to come up here and say thank you guys, because starting my academic career at Stanislaus State University and being a part of the community of Turlock has been such a wonderful experience. And just to be able to sit in and observe one of these meetings has been such an honor for me, and I really do appreciate it. So I just wanted to come here tonight, and I'm happy I did get to come tonight because it was just amazing to see everyone get reelected, and congratulations to all of you guys who did it tonight. That's amazing, and I just want to come up here and say thank you so much, because my school is amazing, and I work here in Turlock, and everyone is just, it's one of those wonderful country towns where we all come together and we all love each other so much. So thank you guys. It makes me emotional, but honestly, like, I'm so blessed to be here. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Sure. I don't have any other cards. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Public comment?
Good evening, council, staff, and Turlock residents. Milt Treeweiler. The election's over and I lost, and that's a fact and reality. I lost by 75 votes, and running for office was a great experience. I don't believe many people understand how nice and friendly our people are on the west side. We are the essential workers of the city of Turlock. It seems to me that many people's goal is to get rich and have lots of money. These people have a love for money. I acknowledge that this is one of our human traits and characteristics. But is this the trait we should be focusing on? Another trait and characteristic we have is we want to be happy. Why not focus on being happy? Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. And what does he want? He wants more money. We humans think we're pretty smart. Each of us think we know what's true. However, not one of us agree on everything. You can fool the people, but you can't fool the laws of physics or mathematics. I'll repeat that. You can fool the people, but you can't fool the laws of physics or mathematics. We're using up the resources that will be needed for our children and their future and future generations so that they can survive. I understand that what I'm saying may not be what you want to hear, but I don't mean it to be that way. My goal is to help people learn about facts and reality so we can live and survive together in happiness. Let's all work together to preserve our city of Turlock's small town size. We are a wonderful city here in Turlock, and 75,000 people is an ideal population. Unfortunately, people can get very greedy. Their love for money can overshadow their love for happiness and for being good people together. And that's what we need here, good people together. And I hope that that will be a goal and something that does occur here in Turlock. And I will be helping that happen. I guarantee you that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we will close the public comment and move on to consent calendar. Are there any items to be removed for separate consideration? If not,
Move to approve.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, it passed 5-0. Final readings. I will open it to the public for the final reading on the sewage disposal sewer service user rate update. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Okay, we'll close public comment, bring it back.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, 5-0. Thank you for that. All right, I will now open the Public Financing Authority. And there's an action item, 13A. And Mr. Moreno. So is it director, commissioner, what do you call it when it's a different title?
What are you?
Money man. Money man's preference.
Money man.
I think in this nature it's actually treasurer, but yeah.
Okay. It's too many titles.
Hyphen.
Board or something.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. Tonight is one of the topics in which we're talking about the roads program again as one of the money funding mechanisms we would get through this project. In a moment, I'll turn it over to our financial advisor who kind of goes through the process in which we're at for issuing the debt, but kind of give a brief overview of the project and how the funding mechanisms work again. So during our previous conversations, especially during the budget process, we talk about how does the money all come together. By looking at financial outlooks on a 5-year plan, we look at when it's necessary to actually issue debt, or also getting to reserves for Measure L or Measure A, which are our primary funding sources for the project as a whole, right? So today's action talks about the funding sources of the debt issuance. Today's issuance is about 29.5. We have future issuance that we'll be doing as part of the project. So why do we issue debt? Really, it's because what our current model of how we did things just didn't work. One, you didn't have enough money to get the capital projects out and try and do in that factor. So now with Measure A coming in, Measure L also, you're really starting to expedite the project to keep up things. Why is that important? Trying to get the money out in an appropriate format will allow you to, one, stay ahead of the construction projects, so they're not slowing the projects down, but also that we can manage our money more efficiently. Make sure we have the money when we need the money, not just issuing debt just to issue debt, right? So if we went too early, we're paying debt interest on money we didn't need. If you look at our current portfolio and how it works, our current revenue streams and reserves are able to pick up our our actual projects for this fiscal year. So money management for this project is very important. I can say, me and Fred are always in each other's offices saying, what's going on now? How are we moving? Where's the issuance coming out? What is the project looking like? Are we on target? Because of the issuance and the dollar amounts that we're talking about, that communication between our departments is really critical. So this is a part of that process and how we look at it. So at this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our financial advisor, Eric Scriven, with NHA Advisors.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Just for everyone to know, we also have bond counsel in the room, Dave Fama with Jones Hall, and the underwriter, Michael Garcia with Oppenheimer, if there's any questions related to their areas of expertise. This one. So, the road program clearly is a top priority, and that's been identified, and the funding source has been put in place for several years now. The need has been well established through the pavement management report. The council has received the presentation on how to fund over time this very, very large project. And last year, the basic legal foundation of a transaction structure for issuing bonds was laid. The timing wasn't right last year, based on the very detailed program and the pro forma put together by Finance and Public Works and the roads for the roads program. Now the time is right. So with that, tonight there's one item that's going to be approved, and we'll talk about that in a second. We always put this in for the record. The team consists of the city staff, primarily finance, city manager, public works, economic development. All have participated and provide direction to us to proceed in the way that best fits the objectives of the city. We're the municipal advisor, NHA advisors, bond counsel, Jones Hall. They also provide disclosure counsel, which is being approved tonight. The preliminary official statement, the underwriter sells the bonds, and the trustee holds the money. Summary of the plan is to issue tax-exempt bonds to fund a portion of the roads program for the next several years. You have to spend those monies within 3 years, and it's been calibrated $29.5 million to fit within the overall funding plan. The transaction is going to be structured as a lease revenue bond, which in essence creates a leaseback structure so that we can have a payment stream that can be bonded against. The roads will be the security. However, the roads cannot be condemned or taken. It's the way the transaction has to be structured with the appropriate amount of value in order to be legally valid to sell to investors. The authority, again, is part of the transaction structure to create a counterparty, so you have a leaseback structure. The bonds are going to go for 20 years. That's an important feature here. We don't want to sell bonds that outlive the useful life of the assets that we're funding. We did establish the foundation for the transaction last year. The limitations are $29.5 million par amount. The true interest cost is 4.9% limit. And the underwriter's discount, these three things have to be in those resolutions, was 0.65% to sell the bonds. Tonight's resolution proposes to increase the not to exceed true interest cost of 5 to 5.25%. Honestly, we don't need that, and I'll get to that reason in a second. Good news. But that's part of the resolution this evening and, up for council's consideration. So based on the $29.5 million par amount, which we are going to size to that limit to get every single dollar that we can within that envelope, and estimated interest rates with the 20-year term, the annual payment will be approximately $2.4 million. And that should generate about $28.7 million because currently the structure requires that we have a cash-funded reserve that sits in account for the 20 years as security for the bond investors. Okay, the good news. We just heard yesterday, kudos to staff and city council, current and former members, that the city received a credit rating of AA- for the transaction, which equates to a AA for the city of Turlock. Quite honestly, we can't foresee that there's really any possibility of getting anything better, and I'll tell you why. There's certain things that are controllable, and every one of those boxes was checked in the rating call that we had last week with your city leadership. The one thing you can't control is really the area, the economics of the area, income levels and such. All of those boxes were checked, and we got a tremendous rating. AA- should and will make for a very good bond sale next month. This is the sources and uses. As I stated, we have a $29.5 million limitation. There's some structuring here where there might be premium. That helps generate project funds of about $28.7 million. You can see that there's a cash-funded reserve in the transaction, and you can see that the estimated payment is about $2.4 million over the next 20 years. So the market, there's a lot of lines here. We wanted to have it in the presentation for the record. The market is still very good. We're hopeful that it'll get better in January. There's a thing called the January effect. What we do know is that AA- rating is going to help tremendously when we go to market in January. So what is before you tonight to be approved is the final piece. It's the preliminary official statement, also called the disclosure document. This is the document that has all the particulars of the transaction and the security of the deal, also risks that are needing to be placed in there for investors to consider before they buy the bonds. All of those things need to be in there, and the whole team has worked with Jones Hall, Disclosure Council, to make sure that that document is something that can be signed off on by the city to go out to investors. It's a very important document that we've all looked at very, very closely before it goes out to investors. If you have any questions on the preliminary official statement, we'd be glad to answer those now, and we have Dave Fama here if you have questions. So tonight is really not the final piece, but the final council approval so that we really can move forward to go out and price or have a bond sale in January. So that is expected to occur around mid-January, January 14th, but we have flexibility on the timing of what's the best day, and that's why we have the underwriter to advise us on what would be the best day based on what else is coming into the market, how volatile things are going. We have that flexibility, although we know we want to get funds deposited at a certain time because your finance director has told us, we're on a schedule. So,
He's like that.
So, and then with that mid-January sale of bonds, that's when the commitment between the city and the underwriter at the certain interest rates occurs. You have a deal, and then the transaction closes about 2 weeks later, end of January. That concludes the presentation.
Questions for either of them? Yes.
I have questions for Director Moreno. So, I don't know, do you have that graph that's in the staff report? Trying to okay, that's fine. I'm just hoping that, because the public is hearing this, these are large numbers, and, issuing bonds, debt can sound kind of scary, but can you clarify a little bit about, our obligation, our annual obligation to this, how that fits into our revenue streams, and explain to the public a little bit more about, yes, we can afford this, this is the right next step.
Sure. So if you look at the forecast, what we've gone through in the budget process, it's also in the staff report, you see multiple issuances. It comes back to discussion as far as what do we need, what does the outlook lead as far as construction comes in, and make sure those dollars fit for what the future holds. So what we look at Measure A is the primary the funding source for these obligations. So as Measure A continues to increase as a sales tax measure, we want to make sure that we gauge what our debt issuance is via Measure A and those revenue streams that are coming in to make sure we have flexibility to issue the debt when we need to issue more debt, right? So the overall objective looks like, in the sense of the way that you only have so much room to play with, but you also have to manage our payment management as far as our maintenance program too. So you have to factor that a little bit too as well. So in other words, if we have $8 million for roads program, you just don't issue that full debt issuance that you're going to be paying. You need to make sure that money fits. You also need to make sure that you spend that money within 3-year factor, or a majority of it anyways. So it's really coming back and doing analysis of what is our sales tax doing for Measure A, and making sure that obligation fits within what we need it to fit in. So that true number as far as issuance is part project driven, but it's also driven by how much we're bringing in sales tax for Measure A. So that's why we do the budget process, and we do this 5-year lookout annually, because we need to make sure we stay ahead of that curve. It's a conversation, again, that we have to have on an annual basis as well as an internal basis as far as the budget process to make sure we stay ahead of it.
And I wish you did have that graph up, because, for anyone who's interested, I highly recommend look at this in the staff report, because without this bump of 29.5 million, our expenses would have to severely contract for the roads program. We would not be able to keep pace with this. And that's been, highlighted in all of the different reports from the Michael Baker report 2 years ago. So that was not really a question, but thank you for entertaining that.
Yeah, I mean, just to go along with, if you look at the revenue streams that we currently have and the reserves we had, we can take on everything that's going on in this fiscal year. I mean, that's, again, us staying ahead of the curve. But by issuing the debt that we're currently doing now, we're having those reserves come back up to make sure we meet those obligations for the next future years.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have questions about our AA credit rating for Turlock, which I'm so proud of, and everybody up here, including Vice Mayor, should be very proud of. Isaac, my question is this: do you know if any other city in our county has an AA credit rating?
I do not. The last one I heard of was Modesto, and I think it was slightly less than ours.
So the answer to the question is no.
No.
Little competitive?
Yes.
Okay, that was a question.
Proud for Turlock.
All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Come on up.
Yes, I have a couple questions. Number one question is, how is it possible to do this without a vote of the Turlock citizens? Kind of explain that. And my second question is, what other cities in this area are using this method for doing their road repairs? And then for the record, I have one comment. Tonight I heard 3 people speak, and they all like to claim that they supported Measure A. Of those 3 people, one of those 3 people did not even vote for Measure A to get it on the ballot. And the other 2 people who were talking about how great Measure A is did not support it. So I just want to keep the record clear, just for the record. Thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up. John Gibbeline.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I just had one question as far as payment of the bond and everything else. Is it guaranteed that the money that's coming from Measure A will always be used for that, or is it just because we have the money coming into the general fund and we're taking it out or whatever? That's my only concern, that when we pass bond issues and for property tax and stuff, we know where it's coming from. And I just want to make sure that the funds that we're getting is guaranteed that what we get from Measure A will be used to pay for the bond.
Anyone else? Bob?
understand why you wanted to 29 and a half, just to get some cash out there in case jobs going or projects come available. There's another way to do that, and that's to just put money aside for Measure A for a couple of years and build up your reserves, and then you have that bump. If you go this route, you are locking in the city to taking $2.5 million every year to pay a debt. And you're gonna hamstring future councils of not being able to use that $2.5 million, where it may be a crisis in some other ways in which you need to put roads aside to meet it. And if you do this, you know, it's just like a mortgage. You're locked up. And that's what I fear. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public comment and come back to the questions.
Sure.
Without putting it on the ballot?
First one is, whether we need a ballot vote to issue debt. The city is not. There's different obligations in how you structure a debt. The one referring to most commonly when you go to a ballot measure is a general obligation bond. A general obligation bond is normally more structured around property tax in that format where you actually need to take a vote of the people. Measure A has already been passed by the people as a revenue stream that is coming into as a discretionary, so that the council does have the option to utilize that in the format in which it's going to be utilized. So that's why we don't need a vote to go back to the people. Sure, please do.
I'm going to play lawyer for a second. Tell me if I'm off anywhere, Dave. But the issuance of a lease revenue bond meets one of the 3 exceptions in the California Constitution to not have a vote of the people. One is to have a lease, which is an annual appropriation type of transaction. The other is essentially a utility and enterprise deal of revenue for water and sewer. And the third is obligation imposed by law, such as there's a lawsuit that the city has lost. They have to pay for that. Maybe sometimes they'll have to issue debt, or sometimes the pension obligation bonds are considered an obligation imposed by law. So it does meet the first exception of the 3 exceptions.
Thank you.
The next one was anybody else using this around here?
Yeah, this is becoming a more common tool. The financial team that we brought on board has actually structured these deals before, so this is not it's the first time they've done this. So the documents they put in place are being used in different cities as well to be able to get this transaction done. So it's not uncommon at the state, correct? Don't worry, the first time I heard about it, I was like, what are you going to pay tolls everywhere? What are you doing? Right. So it's just an interesting format, but it is not uncommon.
All right. Something about the payment guaranteed through Measure A?
Payment guaranteed. So Measure A, yes, is identified as a funding source. The guarantee really comes back to budget process, making sure that we're only living within the means that we have, making sure we keep an eye on our Measure A sales tax to make sure that we can manage any dip that may come in. So it's not necessarily structured in a guarantee format. It's more structured in the sense that we're financial planning. And that's why Measure A can sustain what we're currently doing. And then we keep on looking at Measure A factor and see where it can go to make sure we can sustain what we're doing.
And do you believe we're hamstringing the future council?
No, not currently at all. Again, it comes back to financial planning and the budget process that this council will be working through and the prior councils are working through. It's just good financial planning. Hamstringing as far as debt issuance, if you didn't go into debt issuance today, you would drastically slow down the program. You really would. The objective is for the program itself is to get us to a PCI factor that we feel comfortable with, the public and the council and the community. If you don't do this now in a sense of the way, you're basically hamstring the projects and slow it down, so we'll never catch up to where we get to a reasonable PCI number.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, what's the will of council?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Authority Member Abram?
Yes.
Authority Member Bixel?
Yes.
Authority Member Moniz?
Yes.
Authority Member Phillips?
Yes.
And Chair Bublak?
Yes, passes 5-0. I will close the Public Financing Authority meeting, and I will now open the successor agency for the Turlock Redevelopment Agency. I still don't know your title, Mr. Moreno.
I'm fine with Money Man. That all works.
Money Man.
So this obligation that we're currently talking about, Council, is regarding what we call the ROPS, recognized obligation payments. It comes back to the old redevelopment agency, and then prior to it shutting down, what the city of Turlock still had as far as obligations, and we still need to meet those obligations. The primary one within this overall structure is going to be the debt issuance. It was actually a refinancing of multiple issuance. So this project, this allocation will get us to make sure that we meet our debt obligations for that structure, and then we continue to pay the bond payments until they come to maturity. There is a small component as far as administrative budget part, and that's really just to make sure that staff can take care of what needs to be care of, as well as the mobile program that we have as far as subsidization. Is there any questions?
Questions? All right, we'll open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak regarding this item? Okay, we'll close public comment and bring it back. Comments or something?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Agency Member Abram?
Yes.
Agency Member Bixel?
Yes.
Agency Member Moniz?
Yes.
Agency Member Phillips?
Yes.
Chair Bublak?
Yes, passes on a 5-0. And item B, Money Man.
Almost done.
I got you.
All right, thank you, Council. So our next item is talking about our first quarter 24-25 budget presentation. If you remember back in the budget process, we talked about coming back on a quarterly basis because we did adopt what we call a status quo budget. But for good fiscal policies, we still want to come back on a quarterly basis to make sure that for transparency's sake of how the budget's doing and for Council to understand where the money's how flowing or coming in. So we'll go through that process at this time. So the first purge of budget activities. The amended budget currently for September 30th, 2024 is at 64.1 million in revenues and 63.5. Again, we did adopt a budget that had excess revenues, but that was because we had a large negotiation factor we had to deal with. So some of the primary factors are going into this budget. Revenues are looked at from a quarterly basis, so we use 25% as our marker and to see how we're doing overall. Some revenues are projected out because one of the biggest ones being property tax. Property tax is not even received until January. So we have to roll some of those numbers in to make sure that we have a true reflection of what the general fund is doing because our revenues do fall behind and we have to make sure that we account for those. Expenditures as well, if there is any outstanding expenditures or large bills that the finance department is aware of, we try to pull that into as well to get a more action overall budget. So for the first quarter budget analysis, budget of revenues is 16 million at a quarter basis. Actual is actually coming in about 15.8, bringing us to 24.9. No larger factors that outline that need to be called out. Expenditures adopted right at the moment with 15.8, with actuals about 15.8 as well, giving it almost 25% of the overall budget. The large factors to call out is at this point in time, 3 of the 6 bargaining groups have got approved TA. So that's where you're seeing that large jump. So the estimated gain or loss, and it's in a potential gain of $29,000. So not a large amount, but again, this is the first quarter. These are preliminary numbers that are not a large indicator to make sure that, give stress to what we need to be doing or shifting our overall budget. So during this process, I also like to look at other funds too as well. So you see a table here that's not giving it, it's actuals at the point in time of September 30th. So some of them look a little strange in the sense of the way because, for example, Measure A roads, you're not getting a true picture of accruals of sales tax that are be coming in. Same thing going on with your water fund, the sewer fund, where you're seeing a large deficit of 4.5 million. But we did make a large payment to the debt structure. That's why you're seeing that number as an outlier because your revenues will catch up to make sure we compensate for that.
Can I just interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
I'm just going to reopen the city meeting real quick, and then we'll go back to the successor where there's one other item, but we'll finish this one. So we're in council now. Let's go ahead. I just want to make sure it's all on the record perfectly.
Sorry. Thank you.
Proceed.
So as I previously stated, we do want to come back and talk about augmentations that were previously not approved during the budget process. There are some recommendations coming out of several funds from different departments. Primarily when we looked at these augmentations, Obviously, we still have a lot to discuss that are going on with our revenue streams, so we really want to take baby steps into it, especially at the first quarter marker. So general fund requests are coming in about 196,000. Other funds such as cannabis, 94,000 requests, IT department, 54,000. So you're not seeing a large trend of large numbers here, but these are what we call priorities for the department. When we went out to the first quarter and talked to all the directors, we said, look, give us your top 3 items. Some we can try and squeeze in, some we can't, but we really want to know what's critical at this point in time for your budgets. And within the document, within the staff report, you'll see what the full augmentation list looks like. Is there any questions on the augmentations?
Questions?
So the total overall request comes out to 501,000. That concludes my presentation. Is there any
Okay.
questions?
If there's no questions, I'll go ahead and open it up. We are at 15A, which is adopting the fiscal year quarter budget review. The presentation he just gave. Okay, we will close public comment, bring him back.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes 5-0. Okay, I'm gonna
Thank you.
close that meeting, go back to the successor agency, open it up, and we have item B still.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item B is the ROPS as well, but it's the administrative part of it that we talked about previously. So that takes care of staff time to be able to manage the overall programs that we need to take care of the debt structures, take care of the consultants that are working the projects, things of that nature. Is there any questions?
No questions? Okay, we'll open it to public. Close public comment.
Move to approve?
Motion and second. Call the roll, please.
Agency Member Abram?
Yes.
Agency Member Vixel?
Yes.
Agency Member Moniz?
Yes.
Agency Member Phillips?
Yes.
Chair Bublak?
Well done.
Yes, it's 5-0. Okay, I'm closing the successor agency. Final, it's not opening again today. And I'm returning back to the city council meeting, and item B, Money Man.
15B.
I said B.
15B. He's being a lawyer.
All right.
15B.
Hey,
It's a little.
we didn't give you the microphone.
That's why I didn't turn it on, Mayor.
I'm opening 15B. Mr. Moreno, sir.
All right. So the item before you is what we've been talking about, the ARPA funds, and how they need to be obligated for the fiscal year or up to the calendar year of December 31st, 2024. What you have in front of you is a document that stipulates, basically it's an agreement, what we call an MOU, within the city itself, between the city manager and departments that are actually identified as having the obligations of what these funds can be doing. The primary thing to look at with this document is, one, the scope of work, because the scope of work identifies what those unobligated funds are that are just over $1 million at this current moment. But the document also gives us flexibility for dollar amounts that we may not be utilized for whatever reason. We have multiple contracts with different vendors doing different tasks. So if funds are not utilized, we can still shift those obligations into this side of the document itself, the MOU, which gives them the flexibility to still spend the money. So if we didn't have this in place and something was obviously obligated at the beginning, but not utilized, we wouldn't have a vessel to be able to shift that around and be able to still utilize those funds. So the document you currently have in place has that. Within it, you'll see the scope of work, and it's been discussed with the directors. You'll see it from a public space perspective, as well as economic development, and it's also municipal services too as well. The reason we kind of identified those primarily is really because that's a lot of the dollars we've been shifting around have really been focused within those key areas. Working with small businesses, trying to help public safety bulk up, things of that nature. So that's why we structure in that format. So is there any questions?
Questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Okay, we'll close public comment. Oh, I'm just closing public comment. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I would. So, Isaac, as we've talked about ARPA funds, we are meeting the deadline to make sure the Turlock gets to keep all of that money. But now we have, the clock starts for 2 years to spend the rest of it, right?
That is
The
correct.
last $1 million and the rest, that extra that might be left over from some lingering contracts.
That's correct. So if when you come to the end of December 2026, they do stipulate that if you have open contracts that are still playing out, maybe this construction over a B, you still have a little bit of flexibility. But yes, it is supposed to be spent by that by the end of that calendar year.
So I just wanted, my comment was that I would like to see projects come post haste for using this. And, you know, I want to see us be looking at projects that are going to be infrastructure based and not so much outside service providers. I want to keep the next $1 million of this to be really focusing on our core needs, because there's a lot of things on our CIP list for fire stations that need remodels. We have significant needs at our animal shelter. It calls out sidewalks here. If we're going to do projects, I want to start them as soon as we can, so we make sure that we meet our timeline of 2 years. And it is a motion. Thank you very much.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes 5-0. Thank you for all of those.
Thank you.
All right, item C, 15C, Mr. Petrolakis. Chief Hunter, you're up. He's third, sit down again.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, member of the public. Assistance to firefighter grants is a program designed to help fire departments and emergency medical service organizations enhance their operational capabilities and safety by funding critical equipment, training, and emergency response needs. Tonight, I'm requesting authorization for Turlock Fire Department to apply for this grant to purchase 5 mechanical CPR devices at a projected cost of $194,685.18. With the city of Turlock's required 10% cost share estimated at $19,486. These devices are essential life-saving tools that provide continuous high-quality chest percussions during cardiac arrest. They reduce rescuer fatigue and injuries, and they allow for fewer crews to manage CPR calls. 4 units will be replacing the aging devices that are currently in service, while 1 will be used to equip our ladder truck. The current mechanical CPR devices were put into service back in late 2017 as part of a county-wide project funded through system enhancement funds associated with Mountain Valley Local Emergency Medical Service Agency. At present time, similar funds are not available. The current mechanical CPR devices are aging, and the AFG grant places these devices as a high priority item for replacement. So if awarded the grant, we would come back to council to accept the grant. Now, how I'll use the analogy for these is similar to the brakes on your car. We need them to work every time. And at this point, these devices are still working effectively. But we see this as an opportunity to apply for this grant, to use City of Turlock funds in addition to the federal funds, to receive a greater benefit to the City of Turlock. So if there's, I'll now have questions.
Questions?
Yes, when will we hear back if we are awarded this grant?
So this grant is typically awarded between August and September of next year.
And your team and the grant team had a pretty tight turnaround on submitting this, right?
We do. We were notified of this grant opportunity November 11th. It opened up November 12th, and then it will close December 20th. We have a lot of the background work completed, a lot of the language to submit to the grant, just waiting for approval to apply.
So kudos to your team for seeking this out and getting it in time.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What are we doing with the old ones?
That's a great question.
Is there a market for them? I would think there would be with maybe not as busy as place.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace.
Sell them at home, take it home.
That's a great question. Right now, it's a problem that we don't have, but we would look for opportunities to either within the city to utilize them, or with our neighboring fire departments that may not have units that are available, whether by the time that we receive them, other agencies, theirs could be going out of service, be inoperable, so we look for an opportunity to keep the devices locally.
Any questions?
Just one. I realize we're replacing old units with new, but is there any significant training involved in the difference between the old and the new?
Great question. It's the same device, and so the buttons and everything work in the same spot. So there's no additional training. We would look for replacing them with like units that we have now.
Well, I mean, do the new ones think they might last longer than the old ones? Or is there any difference in there?
So when we talk about a technology device that's aging, 2017 was not that long ago, but maybe think about how many cell phones you've had since now and then.
So the answer is no.
Terrible analogy.
We need these to work every time, and so right now they're a mechanical device. They've been very, very reliable, and the problems that we've had are either the batteries needing to be replaced or operator error.
Okay, we'll open it to public. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Come on up. Madison's getting into this.
So I was just wondering, would the old ones, would we be able to donate them maybe to maybe to the college for the people who are interested in the police force who are going so that they could use them to practice? Or would we be able to donate them so they're still in use, maybe by students? I don't know if that's allowed at all, but I was just totally thinking about that as someone who was interested in the police force and have total respect for it. I know that would be such an amazing opportunity to be able to use the old material and be able to practice on it firsthand. I don't know if that's something that's allowed, but I totally thought I could ask.
Absolutely, we can check into it. And then, of course, applications with the chief right over there if you need.
My name's
Sorry,
Madison, it's
she's
nice to
so
meet
good.
you. But yeah, I think that would be amazing, and then the new ones could be used, and then we could use the old ones too, and definitely if that could be a possibility. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else wanting to be a police officer or firefighter? Okay, we'll close the public comment and bring it back. Comments or?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Pixel?
Yes.
Councilmember Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes. Nicely done, chief.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Chief Hunter.
All right.
Thank you.
Submit. All right, we have city manager reports. Everything is in the writing, sir?
Everything's in the agenda that I have to say tonight.
All right, thank you. Council member comments, announcements, and future consideration. We're going to try and move all those into one. Go ahead.
I would like to see the business development program kind of come back before us so we can kind of get some assessment of where that's, where it's been, where it's going. And for comments, staff, public, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And I wanted to say, Director Sims is not here with us this evening. Okay. He would have the exact number. I didn't write it down, but for the parent university that we voted on a few meetings ago, we had over 100 people sign up for the very first session, and that was a super tight turnaround, and those are free classes, and they're opening up a new registration for another 6-week course. So go out there and expand your knowledge, and thank you for all of your support on that.
Well, I too would like to wish all the public and staff Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I want to welcome Erica to the
Thank you.
torture chamber. And
Ouch.
that was not quite exactly right, but no. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Michael Abram, as our new city treasurer. I know how smart your wife is with money. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with it, bud. So you got big shoes to fill, then bring us a lot of money, okay? Councilmember Phillips, welcome. And just remember, yes, welcome to the torture chamber. For every person that you make happy, you make somebody mad. It's just a given with this job, but we're so glad you're here. The Turlock Christmas Parade, Parks and Rec, you guys knocked it out of the park. You did a great job. Thanks to everybody everybody in the community that came forward and put, oh my gosh, so much time and effort and creativity into some of the floats. I have to say the Jolene Mustangs knocked it out of the park. It was awesome. But thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you to all the city staff who work so hard every year, our department heads that come and sit for hours in these council meetings twice a month. Thank you all for your dedication to the city and our community. It's a privilege to be here.
Anything?
Thank you for the residents for voting for me and all the support that I have gotten. I'm really excited for this position, and I look forward to working with all of you. I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Anywhere you want them to go for Christmas to get food?
And please go to Fit Kitchen Meal Prep located on 28 Lander Avenue.
And finally, I do want to thank the Downtown Association. They did a tremendous amount of work for both the Festival of Lights and the parade, as well as our Parks and Rec. It was a great turnaround. People were really, the vibe was awesome, both events, both Fridays. Felt a little bad about the tree lighting the first night, but they got it worked out, and it's beautiful. Also want to say Merry Christmas to a lot of people. Their gift is the roads that they've never had done in front of their houses. There's a bunch being done right now, so they're probably being a little patient and frustrated, but they're going to be very happy. It's not going to be Wayside, which I think they had like 4 months or 5 months before they got theirs. But nonetheless, Santa truck's out there. He went by my house the other day. I ran out there in my PJs. And thank you to all of you for being so supportive of our community, whether it's staff or just the community. It's an amazing vibe. I love Turlock, and I am very happy for the successes that we've had and we will have. Madam Clerk, we have closed session.
Yes. 19A, Conference with Labor Negotiations, California Government Code 54957.6A. Agency Designated Representative Deputy City Manager Sarah Eddy. Employee Organization Turlock Firefighters Association Local 2434. Employee Organization Turlock Management Association Public Safety.
Did you say something?
She talks as fast as I say. All right.
All right, we will adjourn, and if there is something, we'll come back and report it. Good night and Merry Christmas. we have enough people in here? Erica? Hang on one second. All right, we are reporting that there's nothing to report out from closed session, and we close and we are adjourned, and Merry Christmas.